Welcome back, everyone, to the Student Media Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Deacon Tuttle, and
I'm Evan Couch. We're back at it, back in action, episode 2. And my gosh, we got some special guests today, don't we?
Yes, we do.
We've got the student media leaders, all three of them with us today. We have got Laynie Erickson. I believe I said your name right. And if I did,
you nailed it.
Sweet. Lexi Wicks.
Hello.
And Star. Oh my gosh, how do you say your name? I'm so sorry.
Diavolikis.
Star Diavolikis. And these are our student media leaders who represent CNW, Pulse, and The Observer. How is it going, guys?
So good. So excited to be on. Is this episode 2?
Episode 2.
Sweet.
So you guys are our first guests. And the reason we wanted to have the student media leaders in particular as our first guests is because we saw it as a way to kind of unite all of the student media outlets and to bring their perspectives to anyone who is listening or watching, and just kind of dive into what exactly their outlet does in particular and what it means to be the leader of their particular outlet.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect opportunity to show what Pulse does, what CNW does, and then to observe the commonalities, the differences, and then just to show what you guys all bring to the table.
I wanted to start off by saying we talked to our faculty advisor, Jen Green, about it, and she doesn't know for sure, and we don't know for sure if this is the first time, but it is the first time in a long time, she said, that all 3 student media leaders are women. So we wanted to say, good job, you guys. That is awesome. And I just wanted to kind of ask each one of you guys, I guess we'll start with Laynie. Does that kind of have like a significant meaning to you? Does that hold any, like, is it special? Is that something, that you guys are proud of?
Oh, heck yeah. I think it's really cool that all 3 of us are girls and women. And I feel like at my time here at Central, there hasn't been a whole lot of women, either news directors, editors in chiefs, head of the news or student media. So I think it's really cool, especially for us all to be heads of our student medias at the same time, because we all know each other. There's some good collaboration happening. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. All about women supporting women and all of that. But I think us 3 in general too, we've had so many classes together or like worked on other publications with each other that it's nice that we can collaborate and just shoot off a text and really be, collaborative and on the same page and want the best for all of student media.
Yeah, for sure. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm also doing good things like Laynie, because I've always looked up to Laynie. So the fact that we're both running something at the same time, I was like, yo. And then the fact that like I was Lexi's like editor at one point, and now we're just like hanging out side by side. I think that's wicked. Sorry, my squishmallows are in the back, but also I really like it because of the fact that, I get judged on my appearance. I'm sure, we all go through it, especially like for women, because like I have like piercings and tattoos and things like that. But then on top of the fact it's just that I'm a girl, I call people and they're like, oh my God, it's a girl talking to me. Like, I could brush her off or whatever. But there's 3 of us here. Can't be ignoring us now. Yeah. That's all that I got.
Do you guys think that the chemistry that you've kind of built up through, you mentioned that you guys have had classes together previously and you guys have known each other for a little while. And it's really interesting that now all 3 of you are sitting in the leadership roles at the same time. Do you think that chemistry that you've built over time has really helped you work with one another as student leaders currently?
I think so. I think we all bring different strengths, and that has shown like through the classes we've taken together, especially with like my written things. Like Lexi and Star have both helped me out when it comes to more broadcast news. Then that's my turn to step up. But I think us all having different strengths and being besties in class has really helped us hopefully collaborate and also grow the relationship between all 3 student medias so we can work together a little bit better.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I even think of like last quarter, and Laynie and I were both in CNW. Star was also in CNW with us. And I think Star and I were kind of in the same boat as like, we didn't know what we were doing. So we were really looking up to Laynie because she knew exactly what she was doing. If I had any questions or anything, that she'd be the first person to ask. But then I also found like Laynie and I had this grammar class together, and it was like text, okay, what does this rule mean? Or like, what are we doing late at night? And I was on it. I had the book out.
Lexi's
So,
a grammar god is what we call it.
So I think we can really like play on each other's strengths. And since we've known them throughout past classes and quarters, we can really play on that as leadership roles as well.
I also just, sorry, this might sound like childish or something, but I just love the fact that I don't have to be so formal with them, at least, you know, like they know I'm not extremely formal sometimes. I'm just like, hey, what do you think about this? And they're like, oh yeah, that sounds good. And I'm like, cool. And like, that's it. I just like the fact that we can be so relaxed, just granted because we've had classes together.
Yeah.
I also respect that y'all are so nice. Like, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you can't really do that with people you don't know. So it's like, I think,
Yeah,
I'm the same way with Deacon. I mean, if I wouldn't be hosting this thing with Deacon if I didn't know him. It would not be fun. And I think it would just be really awkward because instead of trying to get to know the people that we're talking to, I'd be sitting here trying to figure out who the guy sitting next to me is.
yeah, you can't read anything. It's like I've known him for almost 3 years, so at this point, I have to at least pretend that I like him. So you know that makes it a little bit easier. You have that camaraderie there in some way.
Yeah, that was mean. Actually, I don't like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So I guess transitioning to the next question would be, since you guys are all in this position now, what got you there? What is your favorite form of media? And what inspired you to be that way?
Ooh, I'll start this one. I came to Central knowing that I wanted to be doing the digital journalism major. I did the running start credits, so a lot of my gen eds were done. And it started at the radio station here on campus, KCW, or 88.1 The Berg. And originally it was sports. I did the Observer, I did the Pulse magazine, and I liked it. But once I got into broadcast media, I think that's where I found a love for it. And I feel like as far as journalism go, that's probably my strength. But from sports, it kind of went into more the news department, and that's where I'm working at Central News Watch as well as at the radio station. But yeah, I just kind of fell in love with being on camera, I guess.
Real quick, I wanted to ask, because you just mentioned that you are part of the radio station. Does that help you in other facets of student media, and maybe not in particular broadcast, because I think it goes hand in hand, or I would imagine that it goes hand in hand, but like, does working at the radio station help you with other types of student media, like the writing portion or anything like that? Or is it just kind of broadcast?
I think, well, yes, the writing portion, but most of all, I think the connections through radio, and also bringing them to, I think these girls have fantastic connections, so that all three of us combined kind of make a superpower of a student media.
I think so too. It's a pretty unique thing that you guys got going here. So that's why we thought it was really cool to have you guys on.
Yeah.
I started out pretty similarly to Laynie. I had the running start credit, so I kind of just jumped right into digital journalism. But my real inspiration that even brought me to Central was my older sister. We're exactly 4 years apart. So as soon as I started high school, she started college here at CWU. And we were both really liked writing. And so she ended up finding Pulse and working her way up to editor-in-chief. And you guys will know so far, I'm sure you've picked up on it, something's always going to go wrong in the position, and you kind of have to scramble to figure it out. And so when things like that would happen with photography, she would always call me, because I was the president of like the digital media club at my high school, and I was really focusing more on photography than I was on my writing. And so I was actually being published in Pulse every once in a while from high school versus college. And so going in, I already knew Jen. I knew the major, and I knew what kind of job she was getting, like job offers and things. And she was turning down jobs that were like my dream. And so I was like, I'm going to do what you're doing, and I'm going to accept them. So that's what kind of brought me here. And I was like very determined to work my way up through Pulse. So
Do you find that there's almost a rivalry between you and your sister with this? Is this like a one-upping, or is this more friendly?
No, I mean, granted, my sister and I have had like rivalry type vibes in the past, but I think with Pulse, it's so creative. Like you can kind of do what you want with it. And she's never done anything to make me feel like I have to be better than her or anything like that. She really supports me. And I remember like when I first became editor-in-chief, she got me this like present with all these editing pens and, you know, notebooks and stuff, and it was really cute. And she's always the first one to be reading it and telling me her advice and support, even before I've known that it was published or whatever on issue. So I'm like, she's on top of it. She's the first one to like all the Instagram stuff. So I get more of a supportive vibe than like a rivalry. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I didn't want to interrupt. I almost started speaking and I was like, yeah. So for me, basically, is that I came to Central because it was the closest university to home. I'm at home right now to really show that. And so I remember I joined the Observer my first quarter because, you know, I only have 2 years here because I also did Running Start, you know. And so I remember, oh my God, Bailey was my editor and I felt so bad for her. I was the worst reporter. So I realized that I just really liked reporting on top of that, especially because like Bailey and I had like a really cool connection for what I could tell, at least. Seemed like she liked me. So, you know, I found like basically like a home in Observer kind of, because I felt comfortable learning the same time I was still publishing. Because even though it might have been a bad article, my name is already out there, you know what I mean? And I was like, well, I can't stop now. So the next quarter I became a senior reporter. And then my spring quarter, I was the scene editor, I believe. Scene or news. I've jumped back and forth since I've been there. And so it's honestly been really cool. I just like worked my way up really fast, I guess. You know, Cynthia, she was impressed with me, the previous advisor for Observer before Jen came in. And then, you know, Jen's been working with me and she's been like hyping me up the whole time I've been here. So now she's happy that I'm here. So I think it was just really easy because everybody, at least everybody that I'm close to in the comm department, is like really relaxed. And they're like, oh no, we know that you're still learning, especially because you joined with no experience, but you did it. So I struggled with Central News Watch though. That's the thing. I felt bad about it.
She was a fantastic writer. I think camera shy was the only thing, and that was your own.
Yeah. I only did like one stand-up, I think.
She was pretty good.
Deacon and I have been kind of openly public about saying we're kind of pushing Central News Watch down in our student media.
Everybody does.
It'll happen. It's gonna happen.
It'll happen because it has to happen. But I mean, I look forward to it. It's just I just don't want to do it right now because I'm working on other stuff. But that's not a shot to CNW. That's just
everyone. I feel like Central News Watch brings the most nerves naturally. With print writing, you kind of get to be, you know, behind the paper. People don't get to see you. But broadcast journalism, there's a whole other element of getting those interviews, but also getting them on camera, and then yourself being on camera, and then the whole video editing aspect. So there is some stress with it, and we're dealing with that this quarter. We just finished week 1, and there's always, you know, that stress with the first story. But after week 1, all the nerves are out, and everyone's calmed down a little bit and kind of knows what to expect.
Yeah, I think Evan and I are taking it one step at a time. It's like Observer and Pulse, and then our faces are on camera now, and then we'll finally be at the end.
I think it's the script writing. Not necessarily the writing either. It's the reading the scripts. I am so bad at sticking to scripts, and whenever I have to read a script, I will mess up over and over and over. But if I'm just going, if you just let me do my thing, I feel great about it. I feel fine. That's why I prefer this kind of media to that one.
Right.
But to get into that, you know, I have an inspiration that I look up to when it comes to this kind of media. For example, like the guy I look up to, his name's Pat McAfee, and he does a live show every day, and it's sports media. I love that guy. Love that guy. Laynie says she likes him too, which is awesome. I didn't realize that there was a lot of women who enjoy his show, so that's even cooler. But yeah, so like that's the guy I look up to when it comes to the kind of media that I want to get into, and he inspires me to do stuff like this. So I wanted to ask you guys, do you guys have someone in media or maybe a specific type of media that inspires you to, you know, work at what it is you guys are doing right now?
I could answer this one. Originally, I came to Central, and I always said I wanted to be the next Erin Andrews.
Oh,
Sports
nice.
broadcasting.
That is a good one.
And I still think that's kind of my role model, even though I'm getting more into the news side of things. Also looking at alumni who have graduated. Mariah was, I think the year before I got here, but she's one who's now working at KHQ as a senior reporter, I believe, but she's the bomb. And so I just think people who have been to Central and done really well here, and looking at them like working in Spokane, Montana, we're kind of everywhere. So that's who I look up to, I'd say.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Nice.
Okay, I'll go.
Go ahead. I'm gonna take the reins here because we can only talk so much. It's about you.
I would say Elizabeth Gilbert was someone that I looked up to a lot in high school, and that really inspired this whole trail that I'm making in at Central. She was a journalist and she was a freelance writer. And so she's been published in, New York Times, GQ, all of these really incredible publications. And she would work just kind of, minimum wage jobs, bartender, waitress, or barista or whatever. But she would basically get up enough money to move to the next place. So she was, seeing all these different places and then getting all of these, different experiences through all these different jobs. And that's what she based her writing off of. And she produced really great work. And then she also ended up writing a memoir after her divorce and everything, which is what we know as Eat, Pray, Love. And that's where I found her from. And I ended up realizing that there's way more than this. And so that was actually based on her life. And now she's written, I don't know how many novels, I can't even count. And I just think she's like a very well-rounded, talented person. So yeah, I think that would be my role model.
I do not know who that is, but they sound awesome.
Star. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, what about you? What's your inspiration?
Well, it's gonna be embarrassing. I didn't really have one when I came here to Central. I honestly didn't look too far into news, and now I'm running a newspaper. I did something. I think the thing is that I didn't realize until Lexi was actually answering. So thank you for going first. Is that I've been surrounded by journalists before because, I'm here on the reservation. I would always volunteer here at the Yakima Nation Library. And part of it is that there's like a little multimedia group that's here. And there's one mentor that they have. His name is Michael Sekakwaptiwa. And so he worked for the tribal newspaper, and then he works at the multimedia thing. And he's kind of jumped back and forth like 3 times between the jobs. So that's kind of fun. But I remember I got featured for Halloween one time when I was like 12. I was the Mad Hatter. My mom made it like from scratch, and it was impressive. Y'all would have thought it costed money. You know what I mean? It was great. But either way, I think just seeing that, somebody who was constant in my life because I'd always be at the library and stuff like that. I think seeing that person over and over kind of just like was a subconscious thing of like, oh, writing's cool. I always liked writing when I was little, but I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna write like romance novels for teenagers type of thing. And I can't do that. I'm not skilled enough. So, but I realized I like this more because I like uplifting voices. I could go on for a big tangent for that. So I'll just leave it at that for right now. But yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I guess the next question that we have for you guys would be, what is the easiest part of media and what's the most challenging for you all to handle?
And I think you guys kind of already dove into a little bit. I mean, Star talked about how CNW was tough, and we just said CNW is tough, and we haven't even taken it yet. So there's our side of it.
Thinking about the most difficult part, I think it's different for each of our medias. Kind of like I was saying, both the magazine and the newspaper have a presence on campus. You see it while you're walking down the hall. You're seeing it in the circ. Whereas Central News Watch doesn't really have that. And so getting the word out, and, you know, we're really trying to be active on social media. One thing we've started this year is we really want to encourage reporters to, you know, repost, send to their family, post on Facebook, send it to whoever they interviewed. But I think the most difficult part with Central News Watch is just trying to make our name known. Because a lot of people, when I, you know, ask for an interview, oh, are you with the paper? Oh, are you with, and people don't really know about Central News Watch too much. So I think that would be the most difficult part for us.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll jump at it. Go ahead. Anyone. 1, 2, 3, go.
Okay, to kind of build off, because I did take CNW last quarter, and I think as just students that have to take all 3 of these publications in order to graduate for our major, I think it's somewhat difficult to kind of wear a lot of hats at once, because I was taking CNW, and then I also had to go and run Pulse in the same day, basically. Within hours of each other. So it was like, even though they're all media or news of some sort, they're very different foundational just skills. I think I really had to relearn a lot of things in CNW, and that's why I'm so grateful for it. It makes you look at how you interview people differently. The kind of questions that you're asking, especially now that you have to videotape them, you can't take out the likes and ums and things like that. So how do you get people to be clear and concise with what they're telling you? I don't know. I think I see the benefit of it. I've lived the benefit of it, but also I think it can be hard if you're taking multiple, just having to like, okay, put on your creative hat, put on your news hat. You have to be kind of straightforward doing your thing. It can be difficult at times, but I think it's for the better, for the best.
I figured I could leave like the little rotation that we have going. So that's why I just make you answer. So, okay, not from my perspective, I guess, but I guess I could understand the most difficult thing for student media, from what I can tell, is the fact that you're still learning. I believe every one of these every one of these publications is still a class that students can enter without previous experience, besides like, I think, basic prerequisites. You know, like I said, I joined Observer my first quarter here at Central when I just moved into my dorm like the day before, type of thing. So it's scary. And also just adapting to the writing or the editing that you're doing, especially because there's a big difference from like Observer and Central News Watch. I think Pulse is like a good medium, which is pretty cool. But, you know, you have to work with different types of expectations, and it can be confusing and scary, especially like for Observer. Us editors, you know, we copy edit. I remember my first article had 120 edits. Still remember, it was something like 120. And I remember I was like, why are they ripping my stuff apart, type of thing. And it's like, we're not trying to be mean. I think it's just, like I said, just adapting is like the biggest thing that's difficult. Did you also ask about the easiest thing, right?
Yeah, that was part of it too.
For my job part, at least, is like picking the stories I want to be in print, because I can tell when somebody's passionate and they're going to make sure that the story is amazing and things like that. So I like to look forward to those. And I like pulling together the stories to put in the paper. And my graphic designer, oh my God, bless her, she's amazing. I love seeing it come together, because I guess I just like the whole building process of it. So that way, when it's like on the newsstands, I'm like, I did that.
One thing about all of our student medias is how rewarding it is to see, whether you see it in your magazine or newspaper, or seeing your video get posted and receive likes and all that feedback. I think that is probably my favorite part, is just, you just feel very rewarded. Yeah. I think especially with Star just did a article about censorship that rocked.
Oh man.
It was fantastic. And I just think things like that, where we can, I know Central News Watch reposted it, but just supporting other student medias is awesome.
That is actually something I kind of wanted to get into, and almost as a way to close this out, because, you know, we've looked into a lot of the different aspects of your guys' roles and also the media outlets that you are representing. And something that I wanted to let you guys kind of shed some light on, just what is something in particular, like a piece of work that maybe you were working on this quarter, or something that you're getting to this quarter that you're really looking forward to coming out, or some ideas that you guys have? And like, how exciting is that? Like, is there something we should be looking forward to in each of the student media outlets? Because I know Star, she had that big story about the censorship. Oh no, we are running out of time. 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
There we go. That's perfect. That's a good amount of time. Sorry about that. But yes, like, do you guys have a piece of media that is coming up that you are really excited to share with people? Oh, Star's raising her hand. Go ahead, Star.
Well, I am being respectful here. So I guess it's not something that's exactly coming out, because it's something that I already talked about. And like you guys said, it was the censorship thing.
Right.
It's a really big deal to me. I took it a little personally, I'll be honest, even though I probably shouldn't have, because I'm a female minority and I'm used to people trying to talk over me and get rid of things that I do. So this instance was really hurtful. And I asked Lexi and Laynie, like about it. Like, I'm sure they also knew, just how crazy it is. Cause like I said, both of you republished it and everything. So thank you for that. So I'm basically going to be following this because I don't want to let this go. Granted, Pulse and Newswatch might not have as much, like, I guess, issues with censorship, because I believe Observer was also censored 3 years ago, if I remember correctly. It was when Mariah was here. And I'm trying to make sure that this doesn't continue to be a trend where it's like swept under the rug. So just look forward to continuing to see updates from me until I find a solution that I feel is fitting for everything. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
I figured you were going to jump into that one because it's like the perfect example. And I think it represents kind of the stuff that you, and I'll say we, are doing at Observer, because, we're trying to get voices heard, and, censorship is a really big deal when it comes to media, and it's a big no-no. So absolutely.
One thing that I think, a story that we put two reporters, Central News Watch reporters, on the story is it's just coming up next week. Ellensburg School District librarians getting cut or fired because of budget cuts within the Ellensburg School District. That's one where the Observer has covered it, Daily Record has covered it. But the thing that Central News Watch brings to the table is hearing from the librarians themselves, getting interviews. I think it brings more of a personal touch of like why librarians are so important and how these budget cuts are affecting their lives. So I think Newswatch definitely takes it week by week. Observer is more of your, I would say, like investigative, more hardcore hitting news. But the cool thing about Central News Watch is you actually get to see those interviews take place and see those sound bites from people that we're interviewing. So a lot of times that involves a little bit more emotion.
Yeah, I think that I was going to say that too. With CNW and the recording, and you guys are obviously, doing broadcasts, you get a lot of the emotion through the visuals as well as the actual audio, from the people's real voices. So you're hearing the emotion that they're putting into their words whenever they're giving their answers, just discussing the topics of what's going on. So I think CNW is the perfect way to describe that.
Mm-hmm.
So Lexi, the perfect medium between visual and writing. What do we have to look forward to with Pulse this issue?
I think this issue itself is very important to me and special to me because it is my last issue at Central and as EIC. And so I really have been trying to pay special care and, make sure that it's everything that I want it to be. I want it to have strong reporting. I'd like it to have great visuals as usual. We have amazing designers. Star, I think she's still your head designer, Sarah. She's on our team as well. Oh, she's so talented. I love her. I think we have some great stories in the works that I'm really excited about. And I think something that is, this next week, our drafts will be flying in. So I really get to see how that reporting is going and what all this magazine is really going to be. And so I'm just excited to see where it's going and how people are doing.
As are we, because obviously we do the podcast for Pulse, but it's really for all student media. Mm-hmm. So we get to kind of dive into every single week. We're going to try to have guests from each of the student media outlets to kind of get a little in-depth look of what's coming up, or maybe something that they did in the past. So there's going to be a lot more of that happening on this podcast in particular. So we are very excited to see what you guys are working on and what comes out as we kind of end the year. And Lexi, as you end your college tenure here at CW. So it's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. The opportunity to do follow-ups and just continue to celebrate what everyone in media is doing is really cool. And just to have opportunities like this where everyone can come together and just share about themselves and see what the future looks like. And the good news, Lexi, is that no one can fire you because you're going out. So either way, it's going to be you're going out on top. So yeah.
We're gonna have
that is the plan, to go out on top.
I'm in the same boat, sister.
There you go. Big thank you to you guys for coming on today. It was awesome getting to know a little bit more about you guys and what you guys do for us as, people who are in student media. So a big thank you to you guys. Really appreciate having you guys on. You guys give yourself a round of applause because you guys are doing great work. It's really awesome to see the stuff you guys are doing. So yeah, thank you to Lexi, thank you to Star, thank you to Laynie. It was really awesome having you guys on. And make sure you guys check out CNW, make sure you guys check out Pulse, make sure you guys check out The Observer, because it is all great work they're doing. So really appreciate you guys. Deacon, you got anything you want to say to them?
No, just follow all of them and on all the platforms. And do you guys have any special shout outs or anything last remarks that you guys want to share with anybody? Last remarks.
Oh yeah, Star.
I was going to say, if you are going into student media, or like you've been putting it off because your graduation requirements and you want to do it last, don't be scared. I'm sorry, but we're actually not that vicious. And I know like Central News Watch is definitely not as bad as people say.
No, we're fun.
I'm loving Pulse as well, because I am in Pulse as well. So I know Central News Watch was really fun. Like I actually found it fun. I sucked at it, but I had fun.
Everyone's so scared of Central News Watch. There's nothing to be scared of. We have 5 returners this quarter because 5 people loved it so much.
I'm not scared. I'm just lazy. I'm a Jew, so I can put it off still.
No, I think it just not only is it great experience, but also having, leaving college and having different types of work for me is what I'm excited for. I can bring newspaper articles that I've written. I can bring broadcasts that I have made, which is something I never thought I would leave with, by the way. I'm so thankful for CNW. And I'll also be able to give them, hey, I was published in a magazine. Look at all the work that I've done there as well. And you can really, I feel like, you guys correct me if I'm wrong for the other ones, but I feel like it's a really great place to work your way up into leadership roles as well. So if you really gravitate towards one, run with it, and you'll get more experience and a better portfolio as well. So
yeah, I could not agree more. That's a great way to say it. It is a very diverse portfolio that you're creating when you're doing student media, because you're forced to kind of work outside your comfort zones because you're going into all 3 different, outlets. So yeah, I think we covered everything, all the good stuff. Obviously we'll probably be doing follow-ups as the quarter goes on, diving into each publication and what they're working on. So yeah, once again, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate having you guys on, and we'll continue to look forward to everything that you guys are working on. Great job, Deacon. Any final words for the people?
No, just thank you guys. Congratulations for being in this role, and that we all get to come together and just do this together. It's very fun.
Yeah, thank you guys, and make sure you guys check out the next episode. This one will be out on Wednesday, hopefully, barring anything bad happens to uploading, because there's always problems.
Not that I know of yet.
He doesn't do anything for it. I'm in charge of all that stuff. Oh, I wanted to give a shout out to the person who edited the last one, Brevin. So shout out to Brevin. And once again, shout out to you guys. Awesome work. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for coming on.